Brady. I was born on May of 1822 in Warren County, New York, to Irish immigrants named Andrew and Julia Brady. In my early life, I manufactured jewelry and painted portraits. I got my big break in 1844 on Broadway. The convention was called the Daguerrean Miniature Gallery. I was so thrilled my career has finally kicked off. When the Civil War broke up, I got a splendid idea to create something that could possibly change society's view of what goes on behind the scenes of war. I thought to create a photo document of war. I became the first American photographer. I photographed the Battle of Bull Run in 1861, the Battle of Anaheim in 1862, the Battle of Gettysburg in 1863, and my most well-known photograph was from the war in 1861. When the war began, me and my employees and I photographed thousands of images of battlefield, camp life, and portraits. We even photographed more well-known people like Abraham Lincoln and Robert E. Lee. Back then, we didn't have fancy cameras like Kodaks or iPhones or cameras that could take pictures in the moment, so to say. And so our cameras back then usually took 15 minutes to process. That's why you rarely saw people smiling, because it wasn't because they were cranky, well, most of them, but it was because it's hard to smile for 15 minutes. And have you tried it? It's harder than it looks. And if you didn't see anyone, and if you saw somebody in the background that looked like a ghost or something, that was because somebody moved while our cameras were processing. And so they turned out like a ghost image. Finally, in 1862, I decided to share some of my photos with society, and surprisingly, I shocked them all. Society never truly realized how emotional it was behind the scenes of war. My exhibit was called The Dead of Anaheim, where I displayed photos of the dead in large numbers. The pictures were from people who have unfortunately passed fighting in the war before they were moved off the battlefield. I finally accomplished my goal that I strided for. And that was to make an impact on society and to show them really what happens behind the scenes of war, because back then nobody knew about anything, really. By the end of the war, I accumulated so much that I had to sell my collection to the New York Society and hope that I get more famous. Unfortunately, the deal fell through in 1875, and in 1875, I finally sold my collection to the United States government for $25,000, just enough to get me out of debt. A few years later, after selling my collection, I really didn't have much to do. I got in a traffic accident and suffered from 2 broken legs. Unfortunately, I never fully recovered, and that led to my death on January 16th, 18